Hello everyone, I'm Mike D'Angelo with That's Entertainment, and this is my reaction to Square Enix's E3 2010 presentation. There were a lot of tried and true franchises on display from Square Enix and partnerships with Eidos Interactive. One of the first games that they showed was Deus Ex Human Revolution. Since Warren Spector is working on Epic Mickey, the development team is different, but the game still looks really impressive. It's a prequel to the other Deus Ex games. You can tell just by the augmentation types that they're talking about in the trailer. The augmentations aren't nanotech augmentations like in the earlier games. It's mechanical augmentations since it's earlier chronologically. Not that the Deus Ex games looked bad to begin with, but now that Square Enix kind of has their hands in the partnership with Eidos, the game is looking spectacular. There's just so much going on in the trailer. It's got a very cinematic feel to it. This looks like it's going to be a perfect third strike for this franchise. Square Enix also had a lot of Final Fantasy XIV footage throughout the show. They showed something off at Sony, they showed some of their own stuff. One of the more interesting things that I gathered from this trailer is that it mostly seems like gameplay footage. In the trailer, they were showing a lot of big enemies, so a lot of the people who've been playing Final Fantasy XI are already accustomed to this. For me, the only thing that seems a little out of place is the trailer doesn't really go to great lengths to explain what has changed in this game besides the graphics. There's obviously been a little bit of a graphical overhaul, but what else has changed? Why should I buy this game? Square Enix also had another Final Fantasy game to showcase, but surprisingly it wasn't Final Fantasy XIII Versus. They were showing Final Fantasy IV Heroes of Light, which is kind of in the same veins as the remakes for Final Fantasy III and IV. But it's a brand new original story. My problem is I'm not really in love with the art style. I didn't even like the remakes for 3 and 4 because of the art style, and to me it almost looks like this is a step down. This game doesn't look as good, I don't think. It just, something about the art style just seems more simple, and it just doesn't seem like they put their all into it. That's not to say that the game doesn't interest me. They are bringing back some things that I really like about it. They brought back the job system. They have cooperative multiplayer. It looks like it has potential. I'm just not in love with the art style. They also showed Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. If you haven't been following this at all, it's a PSP game that is a prequel to the first Kingdom Hearts game. You're not going to have Sora. I don't think that you even have Donald or Goofy, but you're focusing on 3 new characters who it's supposed to lead into things that are going on in Kingdom Hearts 3, supposedly. Allegedly, the game has a lot of multiplayer modes, so you don't just have to stick with the storyline, the main part of the game. It does preserve the Kingdom Hearts feel and setting and everything. Mickey Mouse, the Disney World, they're all into it. I would have liked to have found out when Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out, but I guess we're going to have to wait until next year to figure that out. Speaking of PSP games, they also released information for The Third Birthday, which is a sequel to the Parasite Eve franchise. It was pretty much just a teaser. They didn't give out too many details. You know that Aya is still the main character, and obviously there's some horrific stuff going on, but there wasn't too much that you could gather. They showed off a downloadable game called Lara, Croft, and the Guardian of Light. It doesn't seem like Tomb Raider at all. So if you're looking for the next Tomb Raider game, you're not going to get it here. It's an isometric kind of dungeon explorer. You're not raiding tombs, you're exploring dungeons. To me, the game looks awesome. It definitely doesn't have the Tomb Raider feel to it. They're just using Lara Croft's name to push it, which is good, I think. There's tons of traps that you have to navigate, and the classic Tomb Raider feel would not have worked if you were trying to make this game. You need the isometric view, you need the time to plan. Despite the fact that you're looking on your character from far away, it still looks like it could be pretty fun, despite the huge departure that you've made from Tomb Raider. Like most of their other games that they showed at this conference, Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light is also going to feature cooperative multiplayer. Square Enix also showed Kane and Lynch 2. I didn't really follow the first Kane and Lynch too much. I can't remember whether or not I heard that it was good or bad. This game looks like it's trying to preserve the recklessness and just all over the place feel of combat. You'll see in the trailer that while the characters are running, the screen is shaking, which I don't know how I feel about that. It's obviously a lot more realistic, but it could be detrimental to the feel of the game. Either way, the game has some margin of potential, otherwise they wouldn't have been releasing a sequel. They also showed Front Mission Evolved, which looks like your Armored Core, your Mech Warrior games, but it seems like they're pushing this to have more of a story. There's, as I said with Deus Ex, it looks like because Square Enix is all over this, there's plenty of room to work on the presentation and not just have mission after mission after mission. I'm not really into these Gundam Wing type games, but this one actually does look pretty good. If you watch the trailer, you can really see for sure or not whether or not this is the kind of game that you want to play. It was a little surprising that they didn't show Kingdom Hearts Coded for the DS, and they also had Dungeon Siege 3 that everyone thought they were going to show as well, and that didn't show up. But they did show a bunch of good titles, so that was pretty much it for Square Enix. I'm going to try and move on to the next one as quickly as possible. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.